LoreWarrior Online, the Thunder Stallion. Overview. The Thunder Stallion was originally planned as a totem mech along the lines of the Mandrill or the Fire Scorpion. Upon learning of the less than ideal performance of those mechs, Clan Hell's Horses de-emphasized the totem aspect in favour of more combat effectiveness. Only the back legs of the mech still suggest the original equine styling. Despite the changes in its design emphasis, however, Hell's Horses mech warriors still dislike it. The Thunder Stallion epitomizes support in keeping with the horse's preference for placing infantry and conventional forces on a more even footing with mech warriors. The Thunder Stallion works so well in supporting non-mech forces that mech warriors assigned to it feel humiliated in comparison to their colleagues in other clans where mech warriors dominate. Capabilities. Designed for the support role, the Thunder Stallion has a standard 255 rated fusion plant that allows it to move just fast enough to keep up with dismounted elementals and other support units. To make up for its lack of speed, the mech mounts two paired LRM-15 launchers in each side torso, with enough ammunition to allow almost 3 minutes of continuous fire. Working together with spotters, the Thunder Stallion can saturate enemy installations and units from the safety of covering terrain. As a secondary weapon system, the Stallion also mounts the massive LB-20X autocannon for close-in work. Usually employed against armour or infantry units, this weapon typically carries a ton of each cluster and standard rounds, in case the warrior should need a heavy punch against a larger opponent. Unfortunately, the arrangement of the weapon and the ammunition stores is of great concern to a Stallion pilot. With internal room at a premium, the designers of the Thunder Stallion chose to run the ammo feed for the massive gun through the mech's head, just beneath the cockpit assembly and the central torso section. Should either of these locations suffer a breach while still loaded, with even a single round, death for both mech and warrior is practically guaranteed. Though the mech's heavy armour does make such an explosion a rare event, many pilots refuse to reload the autocannon, preferring the risk of being caught without their largest gun, rather than dying ignominiously in this quad coffin. Deployment. The Thunder Stallion is unique to the Hell's Horses clan and is deployed fairly evenly throughout all of their galaxies. The greatest number of these mechs, however, appear in the Eta and Iota galaxies. Variants. The most common Thunder Stallion variant known to exist is nicknamed the Fire Stallion, and it replaces the LB-20 and its ammo with twin large pulse lasers, solving some of the mech's ammo dependence issues and eliminating the concern about ammunition explosions. 2 more double heat sinks are able to deal with the increased heat levels that this model will generate. So yes, we come to the end of the TRO 3060 mechs, and what a mech to end on. We have the 85-ton Thunder Stallion. Its chassis is the Type QMA standard for quad. Its power plant is the Fusion 255 standard, with a cruise speed of 32.4 kph and a max speed of 54 kph. And we'll shock everybody listening that no, it is unfortunately not capable of rearing up on its hind legs, neighing, and then jump jetting away, unfortunately. Its armour is the forged Type HH32 with case, and its armament is one Type Mu LB-20 autocannon with 4 Type 15 LRM launchers. 15 models. It's manufactured by the Kirin Mechworks. Aha! A 4-legged mech with a 4-legged Mechworks. Communication system is the CH3V series integrated, and its targeting and tracking is the version Kappa 3 tabletop simulator. What does this all translate as? Stat-wise, it has a Walker 3 and a Runner 5. It has 14 double heatsinks for 28 sinkage in total. It has 9 armour on the head, 34 on the CT, with 20 on the rear, 20 on the side torsos with 16 on the rear, and the legs have 36 each. It is a chonky boy. Its LB-20 is a split location weapon between the right torso and the centre torso, with 5 rounds of ammo being located in the CT and 5 rounds of ammo being located in the head. Its ammunition for its LRM launchers are all located in the left torso of the machine, but it has 2 LRM-15s in the right torso and 2 LRM-15s in the left torso. And that's a lot. Although, obviously, the launchers look a bit less side torso located and a bit more kind of just behind the head, it makes sense that the machine would have them high mounted to be able to obviously do things like barrage fire. And, you know, for all of its goofiness and the silly idea of it's not bad. I don't dislike it. It has an evoking style of a land battleship, with its bridge there, with its massive main gun ready to fire. Again, I think the LB-20 is usually, for some reason, characterized as being this absolutely, like, fucking planet-devastating barrel size, that the round that comes out of it must be as big as a light mech, and you just look at it and think, no, it's just stupid. If this thing just had a longer gun that was thinner, it would look, I think, more intimidating than this is intended to be. And it just seems to be an issue that some art from BattleTech always just tended to go like, well, if that's a big autocannon, then it's got to be huge. So they draw these massive guns, and they just don't seem to. For me, they detract from what should be a pretty cool looking mech, unfortunately. And the gun dominates the whole design. As I said, if it was a thinner, longer barrel weapon, I could believe it more as this kind of fire support unit. Whereas that thing, with such a short barrel length, it's not going to, realistically, it wouldn't really be able to launch a shell that far. I mean, it looks like the kind of barrel that you would see on something like the real-world tank, like the Sturmtiger, that, lobbed a fucking, like a rocket, basically, at targets. Or rocket-propelled shell, It certainly doesn't bring to mind something that you would imagine would be like the railgun that was deployed by the Germans in the siege of Sevastopol, for instance. As when I say railgun, I mean a gun on rails. I don't mean like a fucking mag rail system. Before people start going, like, "What? The Germans have mag technology?" No. But yeah, if you imagine it being something more like that big fucker, you could imagine that. Yeah, this thing is firing a huge shell, but it's got the barrel set up to do it. So yeah, it kind of detracts, unfortunately, from a design that I think would be pretty cool. I don't dislike the overall physical design of it. It's just change the barrel bit and it'd be great. It's obviously quite effective. It makes sense in its intended role as a fire support platform. I mean, this thing supporting conventional infantry and tanks, Christ, that'd be absolutely devastating against a lot of inner sphere forces, which is kind of the funny thing, is that Hell's Horses probably would have had a much more successful run if it had been one of the invading clans because of its emphasis on a combined arms approach. Whereas, obviously, most of the invading clans preferred having their Omnimechs, and obviously every Omnimech loss is felt. Whereas the Inner Sphere can just deploy oodles of fucking infantry and tanks and aircraft and VTOLs and cheaper to produce battle mechs, whereas obviously all the clans had to produce all these high-tech pieces of equipment and power armor. And yeah, Hell's Horses would have had a great time because they could have repurposed a lot of captured armored vehicles that they would have used, and they would have obviously been able to bring in far more effective, larger numbers of infantry to lock down and hold Inner Sphere troops in position. And mechs like the Thunder Stallion would have been perfect as fire support platforms, just raining death on opposing mechs and infantry forces alike. So yeah, it's one of those things. But obviously in clan territory, Hell's Horses are sort of laughed at because you use conventional tactics. What, like the grandfather Alexander Kerensky? That doesn't make sense, really, does it? You think they'd revere that kind of style because that's what Kerensky used back in the day. He is the great grandfather. We dare not besmirch his approach to combat. But no, apparently everything's old Nicky boy. It's like they revere his shit more. It's like in. Oh, okay, no. Let's cut the rant there. We've gone on long enough. Anyway, thanks for listening. As always, that's the last of the mechs in TRO 3060. Now, before anyone who knows the book, the Blood Asp and the Highlander 2C and that, yes, do exist, but I've already done Lore Warriors about them a long time back. So, at some point, I probably will go back through all of the Lore Warriors that didn't have this post, write-up ramble, and I will basically archive the older videos. I won't get rid of them. I'll probably put them as either as a separate playlist or as a hidden one. That if people want to look at, I'll find a way to put a link there. But I will start going back through all of them again with the post ramble. But yeah, have a good one all. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you all next time. Bye bye. Oh god, it's the Protomechs next. Oh.